Hey, dreamers, welcome back to your Dream Coach podcast. I'm Shayla Wey. I'm a small business coach, growth strategist, and believer that your dream life starts the moment you lead like you mean it. This podcast is all about leadership, fulfillment, and growth. The three pillars that I have found are essential if you want to create a business and a life you truly love. Today, I'm talking about something that doesn't get enough attention in business circles, but is, in my experience, the real key to long-term success. And that is identity work. And here's what I mean, is that strategies will change, markets will change, offers will evolve. But the you at the center of it all, that's the biggest determining factor in your growth. So if you don't grow your identity, you'll keep sabotaging or capping your results. So in today's episode, I'm going to share 10 reasons why identity work is the secret to long-term growth, drawing from my own journey as a coach and from what I've seen working with entrepreneurs all over the world. Before we dig in, don't forget, you can join the LFG Business Academy on School for free. Inside, you will find resources and tools and my mini leadership series designed to help you lead with clarity, grow with confidence, and align your business with who you're becoming. And the link is in the show notes. So let's dive in. Point number one is identity shapes every decision. What I found is that your identity, the story you tell yourself about who you are, drives every decision that you make. So if you see yourself as someone who's bad at sales, you will avoid conversations. If you see yourself as not a leader, you'll shrink back from leading your team. Long-term growth isn't about forcing new habits. It's about building a new identity that naturally makes those habits feel normal. Point number two is you can't outperform your self-image. I have worked with so many different types of leaders who wanted big results, but secretly didn't believe they were capable or worthy. And what I have learned is that no matter how good their strategy is, they couldn't outperform the ceiling of their self-image. So identity work raises that ceiling. When you shift from I'm just figuring this out to I'm a confident CEO, your actions follow suit and so do your results. Now, even when we think about the mindset of a CEO, I coach sales teams that don't even own the business, but we focus on that CEO mindset because again, it's the identity work that's going to raise the ceiling and your actions will increase and therefore again, those results. Point three is habits stick when they align with identity. You have probably tried to create new habits before. I know I have. And maybe they didn't stick. Well, what I've learned is that habits don't last when they're built just on willpower alone. They last when they match your identity. This is big because, for example, instead of saying, right, I'm trying to exercise more, shifting to, I'm the kind of person who prioritizes health. Or even taking it deeper is, I am someone that is strong and healthy. Because when we start to identify and we identify these next levels and identity level habits, they stick because they reinforce who you believe yourself to be. I coach a lot of people to act as if, not to be a fraud, but to already recreate an identity of who we want to be. Because oftentimes the person we want to be has really been inside us all along. But it's just that identity shift that has to happen. And that has to do with, obviously the blueprint that we have leading up to this moment. Sometimes it has to do in just redefining the identity that we've been known as for a long time. And so just really diving deep on that can help. Point four is identity creates consistency. One of the biggest killers of growth is inconsistency. Starting and stopping, going all in and then burning out. And usually inconsistency comes from a shaky identity. So when you do identity work, you build an internal anchor. So you're not just showing up for the short-term outcome. You're showing up because it's who you are. And that's how you create the consistency that compounds over time. And this is a question I'll ask people that I've been coaching for a long time is, what is your identity? Because days go by, weeks go by, months and years go by, and who we once were oftentimes isn't who we are today. But if we don't pause and we don't do that inner work, these can be some of those roadblocks that hold our business from going to the next level. And so it's not always the next system. It's not always the next key. to growth that sometimes grows the business. Sometimes it really is something as simple as reconnecting with the identity and who we are at our core. Point 5 is that identity anchors you through change. Markets shift, algorithms change, strategies evolve. What keeps you steady in the middle of all of that? Your identity. When you know who you are and what you stand for, external changes don't throw you off as much. You adapt faster because you're anchored. And that stability is what makes growth sustainable. Point 6 is identity impacts leadership. Your identity doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone you lead. So if you see yourself as a hesitant or maybe unsure leader, your team will feel that. If you see yourself as a confident, mission driven leader, they'll mirror that too. Leadership is contagious. And so when you elevate your identity, you elevate the identity of your team. And that creates that collective growth. And I've said this many times on this podcast episodes, is that your team is a reflection of you. Whether or not you're the business owner, even if you are leading in some capacity, your team's energy, the way they talk, the way that they think, their results are a reflection of the leader. So when we get clear on this identity for ourselves, it is often something that can play a big part of leveling up to the next level of growth. Point 7 is identity shapes fulfillment. This is where the F in LFG comes in, that fulfillment piece. Because I've found that when leaders, entrepreneurs, business owners are living out of alignment with their identity, that's when they feel drained, even if the money is good. I was working with a client earlier today who literally had this exact situation happening. Was making a lot of money, is making a lot of money, traveling, got a beautiful wife, beautiful kids. The missing piece is fulfillment. And so we really dove into that today on our coaching session. Because when your business reflects who you really are and who you're becoming, work feels energizing. You don't just grow revenue, you grow fulfillment. And that's long-term success. Point 8 is identity overcomes fear faster. I love this one because fear, whether it's fear of failure, fear of I'm not good enough, fear of success, believe it or not, is a fear people have, is fear doesn't just disappear, but your identity determines how you face it. So when I used to see myself as someone who played small, fear would stop me. But when I started to reframe my identity and I started to build an identity around somebody that was courageous and resourceful and confident and caring, fear became a cue to grow. So your identity reframes fear and it turns it from a stop sign into a green light. And that's one of the ways that you can keep moving forward when things get uncomfortable. And this is something that is a common theme with leaders is oftentimes we are the holdback of the growth. And it's because we sometimes have these different limiting beliefs or identity qualities that aren't true, but we've held on to from the past. And we just need to grow through that. Point 9 is identity expands what you believe is possible. So what I have found is that identity is the gateway to vision. If you see yourself as just getting by, your goals will reflect that. But when you build an identity as someone who dreams big, takes risks, and grows with intention, your vision expands. And when your vision expands, your opportunities expand too. So identity stretches your perspective of what's possible. And then your actions will catch up. It's so, so important at the core that we are really clear on that, who we are, who we aren't, and to not identify us as, a role or a position. I see that a lot where when I ask people, well, what is your identity? And they go, well, I'm a business owner or I'm this. And it's usually what they do in their job. And I was like, actually, you are, and I say their name, you are Bob, who is a husband, a friend, a dad, a business owner, a leader, sports enthusiast. And we're very often to quickly identify ourselves as a role or a label, where really our identity starts with who we are as a person, and that role is part of us. And that's usually a really good place to start as you peel back some of these layers. Point 10 is identity growth. Identity growth is going to fuel business growth. So identity growth fuels business growth. And so at the end of the day, your business can't outgrow you. And this is the foundation of everything that I teach. The more you grow your identity, the more you step into being the kind of person who leads, fulfills, and grows, the more your business follows suit. So identity work is not just personal development, it's business development. And I think sometimes we can get stuck in the whole rah of personal growth, and it is how much more can I really grow as a person. But really at the end of the day, if we aren't growing and we're not getting clear on some of these fundamentals, it is going to be a roadblock for our business development. This identity work isn't just about personal growth. It really is about developing our business to the next level. So it's the secret to long-term growth because it transforms the person that is leading and really steering the ship. So here's the question that I want to leave you with is, who do you need to become for your business to grow to the next level? Not what strategy do you need, not what hack do you need, but who do you need to be? Because the truth is, long-term growth isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more. So if this episode resonated, I'd love to invite you into the LFG Business Academy on School. It's completely free. And inside, you'll find resources designed to help you align your leadership, fulfillment, and growth, including my mini leadership series, which is a great place to start if you're ready to step into the next level of identity as a leader. So you can click in the show notes to join, and we'd love to have you inside. And thanks again for hanging out with me today on your Dream Coach podcast. If this conversation supported you, share it with a friend or a teammate who's ready to grow into their next identity. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review. It helps us reach more dreamers like you. And always remember, because your dream life starts with the way you lead, the way you live, and the way you grow. I'll see you next time on Your Dream Coach.